flight to El Salvador. The pair were among 12 plaintiffs in a lawsuit brought by the American Civil Liberties Union challenging changes in asylum policies ordered by U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Washington, D.C. District Court Judge Emmett Sullivan was hearing a request to stay the plaintiffs' deportations when the ACLU learned that 2 of them were already on a flight to Central America. Upon hearing the news, Sullivan ordered their flight returned and suggested that Sessions could be held in contempt of court, according to the ACLU. An official from the Department of Homeland Security sent an email statement that the agency is complying with the court's order, and upon arrival in El Salvador, the plaintiffs did not disembark and are currently en route back to the United States. During the hearing, the judge ordered a temporary stay on deporting the 9 women and 3 children who filed the suit, according to the court filing. The lawsuit was filed on Tuesday in the District of Columbia by the ACLU. It challenges a recent tightening on standards for seeking U.S. asylum, which makes it far more difficult for those fleeing domestic or gang violence to win the right to remain in the United States. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Over 60% of employers are now checking online amateur pornography of potential job candidates. Is it fair to base hiring decisions on an applicant's online porn?
Now, this is not fair at all. For instance, if there's a red tube video of my girlfriend slapping me and choking me and riding me, that shouldn't be an indication that I'm going to lack leadership in a work situation.
Yeah, but Duncan, it's going to be hard to convince an employer who's masturbating to that video otherwise.
Exactly. My potential employer might see all those videos of my husband tying me up and having his way with me. And then they're going to think that I'm not going to be assertive enough for the job.
I mean, if you don't want to jeopardize the content of your porn, you can always shoot from the eyes down.
Oh, but that's not the same if you cover the eyes. That's where the innocence is.
So am I supposed to leave an orgy just because someone shows up with a camera?
No one's saying you should leave an orgy.
Right. So
it's more complicated.
So now, if I go to a party, I wear something like this in case that situation comes up again.
I like that. I actually shoot my porn in sepia tone and make it look old-timey, so if people see it, they'll think it's my grandfather and not me.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Computers are online. I'm going to start loading software.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom.
Broadcasting live from Vertcoin Studios on LRN FM.
You're listening to Will.
You will listen to every damn word I have to say.
And Aria.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Stay tuned for political talk and everything crypto. That's right.
Broadcasting internationally on our Bit Plus Network satellite.
This is
the Call to Freedom.
All right, let's boot it up.
That's right. Welcome here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. It is our Friday afternoon broadcast, last drive home broadcast of the week for you folks. It's me today and Aria in the studio.
Indeed.
And no Tom.
No Tom.
No Tom today. Tom has, he's got some personal things that he's dealing with, so he may be in a little later. We don't know, but we do hope that everything he's dealing with works itself out. Now, today we wanted to cover a couple of different things. One thing we didn't cover earlier this week that we'll cover by the end of the show is death tolls and the ability for, particularly Western countries to look at gigantic numbers of dead and totally not even be moved in any way. They're just not. It's like they're just numbers to us.
The death of one is a tragedy. The death of millions is just a statistic.
That's correct. That is correct. So we also wanted to talk about self-esteem culture. Everybody gets a trophy, participation award culture. And again, we come back to, and I'm telling you, this is why the left have been on the attack against this guy. I mean, he's the founder of the first Islamic university in the U.S. at Berkeley. So you would think that liberal Muslims would be in love with this guy, but he's Caucasian. His family is Greek. He's from Connecticut, and when he talks about
that's 3 strikes right there.
Right. He talks about self, me, I suck. I need to be better. If I'm better, my life will be better. I can control these things. He basically, the whole notion of victimhood culture and like this movement of like complaint. Everything is something to complain about. He rejects this and points out that it not only does he reject it, but he points out that Muslims who are embracing it are rejecting their own faith in doing so. And because of that, these hardcore left, progressive, self-professed socialist Muslims, they hate him. And they've gone out of their way to demonize him, to call him a Nazi. They call him all the same things that they call me. So anyway, I want to get this because it's 5.5 minutes. We've got about 7 minutes left before the break. So let's go ahead. This is the disease of self-esteem.
But generally, praise is not a good thing. In our culture, we have the disease of self-esteem. This idea that you have to praise people. When I was a kid, they had, when you went like in a contest, like I used to be do different contests, but you always had first place, second place, and third place. So even if you had 100 kids, there were only 3 that were going to win a prize. Maybe you get honorable mention. Now everybody goes home with a trophy. I'm serious. Like, it shocked me because our son studied martial arts, and we would go and we went to these martial arts contests, and they'd get a trophy for losing. It really bothered me. Because what it does is it just encourages mediocrity. And you want democracy in a culture. It's a good thing to have people involved in the politics, but in those things that demand talent, you don't want democracy. You don't want everybody getting up and reading their poems. This is what YouTube does. Everybody becomes a singer, American Idol. All these people that want to really it's just tragic. It's just so tragic. And this idea that we have to praise them and clap and no, it's good, and have self-esteem, and you don't, right? No, it encourages people to create the kind of culture that we're living in. Turkey was a culture of excellence, ihsan, itqan. If you want, calligraphy. I showed today, we had a calligrapher, and I showed him some calligraphy that was done. And he was just like, he didn't even look at it. He couldn't look at it. He just put, and it was like painful. And it's like having Jascha Heifetz, and then you bring out your violin and kind of squeak a few notes out. Which is not to say that people need to learn. They start somewhere, but you don't want them performing when they don't know anything. And this is what the culture preserves. I remember one night, we had this poetry reading thing years ago, and people got up and read all these poems. Some people wrote poems like a few minutes before they went up, and they were horrible, one after another. It was just terrible poems. And I remember Dr. Winter, he just said, it'd be better if they memorized a good poem and recited it. That's what people used to do. They used to memorize poems they loved, and then they would recite them. And so, anyway. So, praising people is not a good thing. Generally, it's just not a good thing. Even people that warrant praise, it's not a good thing to praise people. And our tradition is about self-effacement. It's about getting rid of the ego. It's not about inflating the ego. And we've got monsters walking around with inflated egos, prima donnas, dilettantes, all these horrible people that cause. I mean, there was a American folk singer who said that talent is never an excuse for bad manners. You know, just because you're talented doesn't mean you have the right to treat people badly. And there's a lot of people that's what happens. They become very good at something, everybody praises them all the time, and then they become tyrants. Especially if it happens from the time they're little. It's a terrible thing to do to a child. And I would recommend reading Tolstoy's What is Art? It's one of his later works. It's not a long work, but he talks about how dreadful it is, what we do to children by making them work really hard to become masters at ballerinas or concert pianists or whatever, and then they're there for a certain class of people as objects of amusement, and then they praise them. So, and then he says, unless it's to avoid the harm, and the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that sometimes you have to do that, and that's a manduha, to get out of that. So there are times when it's only to avoid something. بدين ممدوح أو المزكي كعجب أو تنافق أو إفكي. And then also
I love when they stop them right in the middle of a point that was being made. Oh, and also done. All right, when we get back here on the Call to Freedom, we're going to continue on with this discussion of participation trophy, self-esteem culture. Everybody needs to feel good about even their failures. You want to weigh in, give us a call, 603-283-6160. We'll be right back.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
All right, welcome here to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Joined today, finally, by Mr. Tom Gray, joining us live via remote from East Tennessee. How you doing today, Tom?
Yeah, been a bit of an eventful day. It's been an eventful week for me.
Did you ever find your dogs?
Yes.
Awesome. Glad to hear it.
I
would have a nervous breakdown if my cats got out and lost.
Well, I'm not very happy with the big dog. It turns out they were 3 houses down from us the whole time because they found somebody to feed them.
Yep.
And when I went outside last night and called for them, the little one came back.
That's
and
good.
The big one did not. So I took the little one out to show me where the big one was, and he walked me right to that house, and she was just laying there on the porch, and she had totally heard me and was just like, I don't want to get up.
Sounds like you got a big cat, not a dog.
Right.
She's kind of.
I have a kid that acts like that.
Yeah, it's close. It's closer to that. It's closer to a rebellious child. No, the cat's more reliable. The cat at least.
I don't know what cats
weight.
you're messing with.
Our bigger cat catches moles, keeps moles out of our yard. He's pretty good at that.
My cats keep their food bowl empty.
Well,
right.
If you filled their food bowl with the vermin in the house that you need to get rid of, that would.
That's their job, man.
Yep. Yeah. But that's back to normal. Had a personal situation I had to deal with before I got on the air today. We don't need to go into that. But now I'm here, and we're going to talk about my disagreement with some of the sentiment we've been hearing. Assuming we were done with the clip.
Yeah, that was it. We'll let Tom go first.
So, I think the whole obsession with, participation trophy culture is way overblown. First of all, there are participation trophies in life. It's called jobs. Everybody gets paid the same at starting wage, regardless of skill level and regardless of achievement. And most people still are allowed to show up to work and collect their paychecks, even if they never actually advance in skill level. There are participation trophies in life called kids. Everybody can have them. You don't have to be any good at it. What participation trophies are really useful for?
Public education. There you go. That's a participation trophy.
Yep. Public education. Another example.
So, Tom, you're arguing that these things exist. You're not arguing whether or not they're good.
Well, I'm going on to where I find participation trophies to be a useful concept, and that is rewarding the attempt, because there is an alternative to the attempt, and that's to sit on your lazy butt and do nothing. And when you're raising kids, it's all about putting artificial incentives and detriments on favorable and unfavorable behavior. So for everyone who at least has the gall to show up and do the work that it takes to get ready for an event, to at least get a little something, whereas the winners still get the biggest of all somethings, I see no real problem with that. Well, when the kids who work the hardest and achieve the most don't see any fruit from their labors above and beyond just the participation trophy, that's where I see the problem. The problem isn't with the participation trophy, it's with the lack of first, second, and third place trophies, and that's where a lot of youth activities fall off. It's with everyone gets to be the mouse in the Nutcracker, even if one kid is clearly better and is good enough to participate with the older kids. It's, where there's no additional prize for the kid who roundhouse kicks everyone else's heads off in the karate competition, above and beyond the pipsqueak who doesn't manage even to score a fall. Second, as far as praise and self-esteem, I find it in fact, it's not even Spartan. The Spartans praise to their kids plenty for doing the right things. Praising your kids for at least attempting the right things is not a bad thing. Giving your kids self-esteem is not a bad thing. It's only when you encourage sloth or don't provide proper incentives for good behavior that it becomes a negative thing. And I think parents are few and far between who don't reward their kids for doing well at all, versus the kids who just kind of show up. I really think it's been kind of overblown, and it's mostly been overblown by the people who bought the participation trophies, by the way. And maybe there's a different perspective on this. Well, I say that. See, the biblical perspective is that everyone is God's special creation, and God wants everyone to join him in heaven regardless of your individual merits.
Well, I would point out real quickly on that note that unique does not equate to special. Like there are tons of randomly generated games like Minecraft and Terraria and things of that nature. And all of the worlds that can be created are certainly unique, but they're all also homogeneous. If you've seen one, you've seen all of them. None of them really stand out as special despite being 100% unique.
Right. And, when it comes to the Christian religion, special means exactly that, special. Everyone holds value to God. And if you're a parent, every one of your kids holds value to you, even the ones who don't have as many material achievements as the rest. And I don't see the problem with rewarding that or praising that, and with giving your kids a sense of innate self-worth, because everyone does have individual worth. Even if you don't have individual, what the world would call merit, you have worth to your parents and you have worth to God.
I find the wording here curious. That's twice you've mentioned instilling your kids with something preceded by the word self. Instilling your kids with self-esteem, with self-worth. And the word self is kind of in there. I mean, that comes from the self. Well, self-esteem cannot be given.
Well, it's a skill that you have to learn. For many of us, it's a skill that takes a lot of practice, instilling in oneself self-worth, self-affirmation. It's not something that comes naturally to everyone, and it is one of those things that kids have to be taught, even if it seems perfectly natural to some kids and to some people. It's the same as teaching your kids to brush their teeth twice a day. Some kids naturally want to do it.
No, Tom, I have to dispute that on the grounds of nature versus nurture. It had to come from somewhere, so it couldn't be taught, the notion of self-esteem. If you trace it all the way back to the origins of humanity, who taught the first human to have self-esteem? And I realize you would probably say God, but that doesn't change the fact that, God could still teach people that without resorting to parents teaching it.
Well, it's a duty that in Christianity, at least, God delegates to the parents, as he does all parenting duties. But there are lots of things that are positive behaviors and positive coping mechanisms that aren't natural. And those are things that parents have to nurture. Self-esteem's one of them.
All right. When we get back here, we'll continue on with a discussion of participation trophy culture and the dangers of self-esteem when we get back here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom live on LRN.fm. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.fm.
my wild desire. I fell into a ring of fire, 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 fire,
All right, welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Broadcasting live here from the Zencast studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. Joined in the studio today by Miss Aria DeMezzo from cryptocurrencycheck.org and, well, Mr. Tom Gray, our legal mind. And it's another beautiful day here in the Shire. We've been talking about participation trophy culture. And we're not the only ones who think that this is setting kids up to fail. We're basically creating an entire multiple generations, because the participation trophy culture has been going on for a while now. And I think it's not a very good look. And it turns out that there's doctors that agree as well. From Psychology Today, singer and activist Harry Belafonte confesses in his new autobiography, My Song, that he learned a thing or two about raising kids. I wanted to give my children all they wanted, all I hadn't had. In doing so, I may have deprived them of what they needed most, the grit and the tools to take on the world and make their own way. Surely, Belafonte, like most parents, wants the best for his kids, but he rightly asks if it is best to reward them simply for showing up. I've been thinking about this issue since Michael Corin, host of Canada's national news program Arena, asked me to comment on his country's new approach to kids' sports. He told me that instead of awarding first, second, and third place winners, all participants would be receiving trophies, win or lose. Convinced this change stemmed from an overly protective and narcissistic parent or trophy maker who would win big by such a move, I answered, I'm not sure this is good for Canadian kids, for that matter, kids anywhere. I went on to talk about the pros and the cons. Awards can intensify competition, impact self-esteem, get parents too involved, and add tension among coaches. But they also teach kids about winning and losing, about success and failure. I left the interview reflecting upon the general trend toward overpraising children and the real world that they would eventually face as young adults. Well, Stanford researcher Carol Dweck offered her thoughts about this issue in New York Times piece, Too Much Praise is No Good for Toddlers. After studying children's coping and resilience mechanisms for 40 years, she says too much praise may lead to less resilient children. Acknowledging children's everyday achievements, she says, will likely have negative repercussions on their motivations to work toward them.
I mean, there's no likely to it. I mean, and as a psychologist, she should know that. Human behavior can be conditioned in the same way that any other animal's behavior can be conditioned. I mean, Ian's dog is so well behaved that I asked him one day how he trained it, and he said he did the no free lunch training, which is where if you want the dog to eat, or if the dog wants to eat, it has to do some sort of trick or something, has to do something for you. Mm. And, you know, the net result of all of that is that the dog does what he wants it to do. Mm-hmm. And the same thing is true of human beings. I had a bass player who played in a band with me who had this really annoying vehicle that just beeped constantly if somebody was in one of the front seats without their seatbelt fastened. And it trained him to wear his seatbelt just to stop that beeping. And so 6 months later, even after he had gotten a new car, every time he got into a vehicle, first thing he did, fasten his seatbelt.
Well, I've actually seen this in the opposite direction when we recently, we just potty trained 2 kids a year apart. Now, Hamza is 4 years old, and he sees us potty training Miriam. Miriam is getting positive reinforcement. She's getting rewards for using the toilet. He doesn't get those rewards anymore because he's a big kid now. So what do you think happened?
He regressed?
He did. Immediately, within the first couple days of us working to potty train Miriam, he started using the bathroom. He'd never had an accident ever. The whole time he potty trained, he never had an accident. He never had an accident ever. Suddenly, he's using the bathroom on himself at least once a day. And we went through 3 weeks of that, of him using the bathroom on himself at least once a day. We had to be done with Miriam before he went back to normal everyday thing.
That's pretty common with kids who aren't too far apart in age.
Yeah. Well,
we went through that.
Again, there's a psychological reason for that, though. They see the child, because the new child, it's a big thing for them to be, it's a life milestone for them to be doing that. Once you've been peeing and pooping in the pot by yourself for over a year, it's not a milestone. It's a part of being a big kid. It's a part of growing up. And he felt that he needed rewarded simply for existing. And I would not do that.
I can tell you how we handled it. It was if you're going to do little kid things, and you're stuck doing little kid things.
Oh yeah.
You don't get to go to ballet because your ballet teacher won't deal with you if you're not, going to the bathroom. You don't get to go up to whatever children's church class she was supposed to be in. You got to stay in with the little kids. And once they lost they gained something by being done with potty training, and when they regressed with the one thing, we pushed the regression on the other, and it kind of reversed itself. I mean, that's what we did. So in that sense, you take away their participation trophy.
Well, what we did was it was kind of the same thing. The question was presented, like, do you want to go back to wearing diapers? Do you want these other things that you like now? Do you want them to go away? And they had to go away. And even the negative reinforcement still wasn't moving us forward. It was...
negative reinforcement doesn't. It's completely broken as an idea. I mean, punishment doesn't work for anything. It doesn't deter bad behavior. The only thing that really affects human behavior is going to be rewarding good behavior.
I disagree.
Well, I mean, it's basic psychology. I mean, it's a fact. You can beat someone until they're terrified of you and they react in fear.
The dread of... Because I grew up in a home where dread was a very real thing.
Yeah.
Like, I got good grades. Well, I didn't get good grades. I should have gotten good grades.
Yeah, but you didn't, because the negative reinforcement didn't affect your behavior. It didn't cause you to get good grades.
No, I was just bored. School was boring. School was sucked, and I didn't do.
It was boring.
It was terrible. And because of that, I didn't really pay attention. It wasn't my thing, because it wasn't worth my time, because I already knew the stuff they were teaching. So why the hell did I care? And homework, homework is for practice. If you don't know something, well, give me the test now and I'll get an A. Well, that's not the way it works. We want you to do it anyway. Yeah, but I know how to do it. That's what the test shows. Yeah, but we want to know, but we need you to do this to show us you know how to do it. But that's what the test shows. Let me take the test and then leave me alone.
Yeah.
And that didn't work for them. It's like, well, yeah, but you taught me the same thing last year. So why the hell do you need to teach it to me again this year? I got an A on the test last year. Why are we doing it again this year? And that was just a question that could never be answered for some reason. So those of us who were ahead, we couldn't get rewarded for being ahead. We had to be held back with everybody else who got their blue painted spark plug as a participation trophy because, America's a communist country now.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
Amid the catastrophic economic crisis spurred by Tuesday's release of This Christmas, the new holiday-themed album by John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, economic experts told reporters today the Christmas CD has quickly plunged the nation into a double-dip recession.
When investors learned that one-time screen couple John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John had reunited after 35 years for an album of timeless Christmas classics, investors had no choice but to pull money from markets immediately. We were already on shaky ground with the collapse of the U.S. subprime mortgage market and the reversal financial crisis in Europe, but consumer confidence plummeted after Americans saw the new album with a picture of Travolta and Olivia Newton-John holding cups of hot cocoa. We believe that when other countries find out the album features a Christmas song that pays tribute to summer nights, we could be looking at a global contagion. This is the blackest day on Wall Street in 2 decades.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
Rick? Hey, Morty. Rick? Are you far away, or are you inside something? Is the camera? Is everything a camera?
All right, welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live from our Zencast studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. It's another beautiful day in the Shire, and we are moving right along. We've been discussing participation trophy culture and the fact that I and many others think that it's damaging to kids, that it removes incentive to excel. If everyone gets rewarded the same, regardless of if they come in first or 50th.
Well, it's more insidious than that, because Tom pointed out that, as long as the kids who do excel still get rewarded amply, then there's really no problem. But I would still disagree, because the existence, the whole point of being rewarded is that it's special. It's something that not everybody got. So, okay, you were rewarded with...
The people who didn't show up don't get anything.
Well, no, they
People
don't.
who did nothing don't get anything.
Well, no, but the kid who sat out there in the grass eating bugs does, and so does the kid who hit four home runs.
I love this. This is from a psychologist. This is from Psychology Today. This is a doctor. She says, instead of trophies for everybody, maybe handing participants a copy of these hard life lessons would have a lot more long-lasting value. Ones I would personally include are, life's not fair. Get used to it. The world will expect you to accomplish something before you feel good about yourself.
But see, that's bull.
It's
the
not.
The world should not be the arbiter of whether you feel good about yourself.
You
the
won't
world
be-
wants you to hate yourself.
You won't.
Well, self-esteem is established in relation to other people. I would point out. In order to feel good about yourself,
then it's
you have to
self.
have. It is
A
so.
minute ago, you were chastising me for saying that parents.
You
should
said
feel
it was
self-esteem
instilled
in
by
their
other
kids.
people, intentionally and
saying
indirectly. I'm
parents-
saying that the
parents
person
teach
instills
the
it in
skill
them.
of self-esteem.
Tom, don't ask me a question and then not let me answer. I'm saying that a person instills self-esteem within themselves relative to other people. The reason I have great self-esteem in regards to being a great guitarist is because I look around and I see people who can't do it. I have to have a baseline for. I have to have a baseline for comparison in order to make that sort of judgment call. And that's the sort of thing that creates self-esteem.
But if you're defining your own self-worth,
You're not.
solely by
You're
your
not.
view of
You're
other
judging
people,
your relative skill.
Yeah, but by comparing
And from
to other
that,
people,
and
that's
from
not
that
always
you
helpful.
establish self-esteem. Tom, that's
Because
the only metric that's
because-
helpful. That's the only way you can assess whether or
In
not you're
fact,
good
it's
at
an
something.
I love this one.
unhelpful-
The only
it's
way
an
you can know if you're a good football player is to play against other people in football. That's just how this works.
But then you still don't know because you might be the
You do,
superior
if you're
player
better
on a
than-
team that loses, or
No
the
one
other
is.
people might
Oh,
cheat.
Tom, now you're going.
Or
But
the
you're not
referees might be paid
objectively
off.
good. Tom, that's totally not the point. These values are 100% subjective, man. No one is saying that I'm objectively a good guitar player.
really,
In fact, I said relative to everyone else, I'm a really good guitar player.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the state champion football high school New Hampshire football team is not going to go to Tennessee and beat the Tennessee state champion football team. It's just not going to happen, even though both of them are champions. Because, well, guess what? The Tennessee football players are probably better. They grew up in there's things that influence that. The fact that they grew up in a strong football culture where here it's hockey and basketball. Then baseball is huge up here for some reason. Like, who even cares about baseball anymore? But
The Japanese?
right? But because of the fact that there's different things that are important here, those kids are not going to perform as well as they do down in Tennessee. I mean, as the kids do in Tennessee. Why? Because they are better students that play football. They're better football players.
Except that's not always the case. Sometimes they have better resources because their parents have more money, which has nothing to do with the kids' parents. Sometimes
I don't think
they
that's
go
in
to
any way
schools-
relative to New Hampshire
Yeah.
versus Tennessee.
Well, it's definitely relevant.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to roll.
Tennessee.
I'm gonna have to roll out Travis Kozart then. You know.
Well, there's also South Panola from Mississippi.
Well, I grew up.
Most of their team went on to play for the NFL, and it's a poverty-stricken, horrible community.
The Kozart family is known in Loudoun County, where I grew up, by the way, and there is a gigantic picture of the football team that Travis Kozart was on in 1984 when we won the state championship. That's still in the lunchroom at that high school. Travis Kozart came from absolute squalor as far as poverty. He grew up in East Tennessee in Bucktown, which was the town that you lived in if you were black. You weren't allowed to live inside of Lenoir City until later in the 70s. And he lived in a very racially segregated. He grew up with all of the things against him that should have been against him. And his undoing came after he left all of the squalor and found some success. And he went back to the squalor and said, no, I still want to live in both worlds. And that is what ended up destroying him. He's the first Tennessee football player to get caught selling crack. And there was like an epidemic of it in the 90s. Tennessee football players getting caught selling or doing or involved in crack cocaine.
I was about to say he might have been the first one to get caught, but he was definitely not the first one to do it, and he certainly wasn't the last.
Well,
that was a
the
twist
80s.
I did not see coming.
This was the early 80s. What happened was he was in Lenore City. You got to pay to be on like Pop Warner or Pee Wee football. He still was he wasn't able to be a part of all those things because his family didn't have the money. He got into the public high school, into the football program, excelled, did great, was rewarded for excelling, got a scholarship, full ride, got to live on campus, everything else. And after winning, and all of this positive reinforcement for winning, what does he do? He starts selling crack, so he's got extra money to party with. And all this success, free food, free ride, football, ruined his entire life because he needed extra money to have extra fun.
Okay, I'm not sure what any of this has to do with the point which I was starting to make, which has to do with another.
Well, you're saying that you need this kind of thing if you're poor, if you don't have things. Then
I said none of the above. It has nothing to do with whether you're poor or anything else. It might have to do with whether other people are rich.
When you said
it doesn't matter.
When you say people don't have the same opportunities as other people, 99 times out of 100, that's based on finances.
Not in the realm that we're talking about. I mean, now.
No, you're correct. Black athletes have a huge advantage in professional sports and college sports. So you're correct. It's not at all an equal playing field.
See, I'm not even talking about that. And I'm not even talking about the merit of the individual. I'm talking about the merit of the institution the individual happens to be associated with. Because it has nothing to do with the child's skill or success that they happen to go to Austin East or Knoxville Christian Academy, which have are private schools and have the ability to actually actively recruit kids and still get to play against the public schools that are legally barred from doing so.
I dispute that notion.
Real, because Travis Kozart went to school in Lenore City, which is one of the smallest, least, well, it was at the time.
30 years ago.
Yeah, not today. Today it's full of doctors and Farragut lawyers.
I'm from a poverty-stricken background, and I had the opportunity from as early as 5th grade to go to Duke University. I just stopped giving a crap about school. But even all the way back then, they were filling me out and trying to recruit me because of my scores on these stupid standardized tests and things like that.
Me too. I was in the Duke University Talent Search, 7th grade, ACT, that whole thing. I did that too.
I mean, MIT was another possibility, especially when I was looking into majoring in physics. And when I did major in physics briefly, but not long enough for it, to go to that point. But yeah. People can create. Well, then what are you talking about? Well, I mean, we've dispelled all of these notions that as we understand them, that, a person can be disadvantaged by things beyond their control.
You haven't dispelled that notion at all. You've given 2 examples of where you had potential advantages that other people didn't.
Yes, because I applied myself and worked hard. That's literally what the topic of the discussion is.
But so did I, and yet I've never even heard of these programs. I come from the same regions. I had straight A's.
Should have worked harder.
How much harder could I work than straight A's?
I didn't have straight A's.
Exactly.
I didn't have straight A's either.
I did I did great on the standardized testing. Yeah. I scored in the top 3%.
I did too, and I've never heard of these programs because they didn't come where I was.
They came to where I was, and I live a couple hours from you.
And neither of us are in any control of that.
All right. Well, we'll be back with the Crypto Hour after this.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, August 10th, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.40 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,214 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $21, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,499. Antiwar.com reports with Congress flat out refusing to fund the plan in the 2019 military spending bill, the Trump administration is continuing to insist that they intend to create a new sixth branch of the military called the Space Force by 2020. Vice President Mike Pence set out on Thursday saying that it was the next great chapter in the history of our armed forces and prepare for the next battlefield of America's wars, which apparently will be in space. Pence addressed the lack of congressional approval, saying that the Space Force will not be built from scratch just yet, but rather will see an increased centralization of the existing Space Command, which is part of the Air Force, while establishing more space-centric agencies and forces to fill out what eventually will become the Space Force if and when it is approved by Congress. Trump had previously claimed Space Force would be separate but equal to the Air Force and would ensure total U.S. dominance over space into the future. He has insisted he believes space is a place where a lot of stuff is happening. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports the average amount of individual student loan debt owned by U.S. college students increased by more than $300 in 2017, according to a study by Lend.edu. The New Jersey-based online loan marketplace's annual student loan debt by school by state report found the average debt per borrower for the class of 2017 was $28,288, up $313 from $27,975 in 2016. Lend.edu said on Wednesday student loan debt in the U.S. continues to be an issue of the utmost importance. The total outstanding student loan debt now stands at $1.52 trillion, making it the second largest form of consumer debt behind only mortgages. The annual report uses data from the Peterson's Financial Aid Survey, which collects responses from 1,080 four-year public and private institutions to determine average individual student loan debt figures and rank states and colleges in terms of debt per borrower. Pennsylvania had the highest student loan debt per borrower at $36,193, up from 2016, when it was also the state where college graduates paid back the highest debt at $35,185. The state was home to 6 of the nation's top 10 public colleges with the highest average student debt. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. Reuters reports a federal judge on Thursday ordered an immigrant mother and daughter brought back to the United States after learning during a court hearing that the government had put them on a deportation flight to El Salvador. The pair were among 12 plaintiffs in a lawsuit brought by the American Civil Liberties Union challenging changes in asylum policies ordered by U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Washington, D.C. District Court Judge Emmett Sullivan was hearing a request to stay the plaintiffs' deportations when the ACLU learned that two of them were already on a flight to Central America. Upon hearing the news, Sullivan ordered their flight returned and suggested that Sessions could be held in contempt of court, according to the ACLU. An official from the Department of Homeland Security said in an email statement that the agency is complying with the court's order, and upon arrival in El Salvador, the plaintiffs did not disembark and are currently en route back to the United States. During the hearing, the judge ordered a temporary stay on deporting the 9 women and 3 children who filed the suit, according to the court filing. The lawsuit was filed on Tuesday in the District of Columbia by the ACLU. It challenges a recent tightening on standards for seeking U.S. asylum, which makes it far more difficult for those fleeing domestic or gang violence to win the right to remain in the United States. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
McDonald's is now offering bereavement prices, and a sexual predator gets tenure. This is the Onion Week in Review. This Wednesday, Samsung announced the release of its brand new really big television. Representatives for the South Korean electronics manufacturer told reporters at a press conference that the goddamned gargantuan of an electronics product boasted a variety of new features, including being super heavy and having a screen that was probably 100 inches wide for all they knew.
We here at Samsung think this new product will appeal to today's consumers who are looking for a television that's really huge. I mean, this thing is built like a Mack truck. You just really have to see it to believe it.
In other news, an important decision is sent up to the company's highest idiot. And an area mother doesn't see why Thai people need to make food so spicy. Today's Onion Review was sponsored by Bamboo Garden, voted the best family-owned Chinese restaurant in Idaho for 5 years running.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Hodul. Hodul.
You better hold on for dear life, because it's time for the Crypto Hour, brought to you by motionproject.org here on the Call to Freedom.
All right, it's time for our Crypto Hour, brought to you by the Motion Project here at motionproject.org. Goodness gracious, what a day. We've got, the lead story for today. FinCEN says that it now receives 1,500 crypto complaints a month.
Who?
FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. They receive more than 1,500 reports every month from financial institutions regarding cryptocurrencies, a top official said Thursday. FinCEN Director Kenneth Blanco, speaking at the Chicago Kent Block Legal Tech Conference, discussed the role his agency takes in regulating cryptocurrencies. He noted that while cryptocurrencies can prove beneficial for certain use cases, they also create opportunities for bad actors, such as financial criminals, terrorists, and rogue states. Blanco emphasized the importance of suspicious activity report filings, a type of document that financial institutions must file following a suspected incident of money laundering or fraud. FinCEN receives more than 1,500 SARs a month regarding suspicious activity involving cryptocurrency transactions, he said. These reports come from both traditional financial institutions and cryptocurrency exchanges, he said. It was filings by both banks and other virtual currency exchanges that provided critical leads for law enforcement. This information included beneficial ownership information, additional activity attributed to the exchange of which we previously were unaware, jurisdictional information, and additional financial institutions we could contact for new leads. All of this was obtained through SARs and the supporting documents filed by financial institutions. Blanco also discussed FinCEN's role in the crypto space more broadly, explaining that the regulator has worked for years in the cryptocurrency field with a focus on exchanges, administrators, and other persons involved in money transmission related to cryptocurrency. He justified the agency's legal standing in the field by noting that cryptocurrencies acting as a substitute for fiat currencies are covered by a 2011 FinCEN rule issued regarding money service businesses that provide money transmission services. In addition, Blanco noted that the agency's been working more closely with other regulators, including the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission and the U.S. Commodity Future Trading Commission, on policy development and regulatory approaches related to cryptocurrency. Blanco referenced initial coin offerings during his remarks, noting that this rapidly growing area has gained a lot of recent public attention. He specifically cited fraud around the fundraising method as an area of focus. He continued, "While ICO arrangements vary and, depending on their structure, may be subject to different authorities, one fact remains absolute. FinCEN and our partners at the SEC and CFTC expect businesses involved in ICOs to meet all their anti-money laundering, combating the financing of terrorism obligations. We remain committed to taking appropriate action when these obligations are not prioritized and the U.S. financial system is put at risk."
Wow. Did you lead this segment with the FUD? With Elmer Fudd?
No, wow. It's the first segment, so
it's I mean, there's so much to unpack in there. Basically, they're saying do this or we'll come after you, and
yeah.
And you know, of course, they would mention ICOs. ICOs are a huge problem, one that the cryptocurrency industry could fix by themselves if they cared to.
Yeah.
The government can't, obviously. But bringing up terrorism and all of this other crap is just FUD. 9/11 was not paid for with cryptocurrency, dude. So
no. No. But now they're trying to say that the Russian thing was.
Yeah, and
Russians and Trump.
And even if that's true, you know, it absolutely pales in comparison to what has been purchased with cash.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If I have to trade, you know, trillions of dollars being spent on bombs and terrorism throughout the world versus some election interference, allegedly, with cryptocurrency, I'll take the cryptocurrency all day, every day. I mean, at least it's not causing bombs to be dropped on kids in the Middle East and school buses and hospitals.
Right.
And weddings.
What's that the shirt says? My crypto wasn't used to buy drugs, but I guarantee your dollars are literally covered in them.
Yeah.
Literally true.
Literally true. Yeah, right. Oh my God, Tom spoke during a crypto hour.
I'm as surprised as you are. I mean, my question from the article is, okay, they're getting $1,500 a month related to crypto, as compared to what? Because if they have to have one of these filed every time there's an allegation of a fraudulent transaction, they've got to be getting at least 5, if not 6 figures a month regarding traditional currencies, in terms of just number of complaints.
I would tend to agree, simply because, you know, cash is more widely used. So it's going to be more prevalent in scams.
Right. So like 1,500 reports a month of people saying something fishy went on with my account related to cryptocurrency.
Well, no,
doesn't
this
sound
isn't
like all that many.
No. This SARs is more like when we.
It's a suspicious activity report.
Yeah, so that's
Right,
when I went in
that.
and we opened our account for the mosque. We'd raised over $10,000 already.
Yeah.
So when we deposited all the money that we had raised, when we opened the account, they filed a suspicious activities report because we deposited more than $10,000.
Right. I mean, what I meant to indicate to people was this is innocuous until they can tell us how many of these reports, if any, result in proof of actual illicit activity and how many of them are just alarm bells that are tripped by the wind, so to speak.
You mean like terrorism accusations against our mosque because we accept cryptocurrency as a medium of donation, and you can find a dozen like ISIS cryptocurrency and Bitcoin scare stories on the internet. So the automatic is like, oh well, like we have the.
You can find even more horror stories of American weapons finding their ways directly into the hands of ISIS.
All bought with dollars. Dollars.
I'd rather they have cryptocurrency than.
Right.
I'm blanking on what they're getting.
War dollars.
Well, I mean, not war dollars. I'd rather have them have cryptocurrency than guns.
I'm thinking even more innocuous than that, because one of these got generated the first time I went to fund my Uphold account.
Wow.
Because my bank calls me up and they're like, hey, this site that does stuff with cryptocurrency says that
a lot of banks
you did
don't
a
like
thing
that.
with your account. Is this really you? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, but that's not an SAR. That's not where they file a report with your bank files a report with the federal government because they think you're doing something suspicious. That's different.
So this doesn't regard people doing like complaints about their own account.
This is just banks and Coinbase and Itbit filing complaints to try to help the federal government chase down what could be possible money launderers.
Or just filing them because the feds require them to, period, when there's not actually any evidence of money laundering or whatever. Because like you said...
Or just filing them because they're jerks and they're not crypto.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, because most financial transactions in cash that are over $10,000 would generate something like this.
Yeah.
Which, even though there's no further evidence...
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Pure Life Water, helping you drink better and live better by providing a zero-calorie alternative to sugary drinks. Visit us at nestle-purelife.us. When kids are playing, they often don't want to stop to keep hydrated, so send them out with a bottle of water and encourage them to take frequent drink breaks, or call them inside for a quick sip. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted. If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Hey, everybody, my name is Carlos Matos, and I am coming from New York City, New York. Let me tell you guys that I am so excited, I am so happy, I am really so thrilled to be right now sharing this amazing, glorious, super, and exciting moment of my life with all of you guys. And let me tell you that we are really changing the world as we know it. The world is not anymore the way it used to be. No. Be
All right, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Broadcasting from our Zencast studio here in the middle of beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. It is our Crypto Hour, brought to you by the Motion Project over at motionproject.org. And you heard Carlos Matos, so you know what that means. Now, we've got a guest with us in the studio today. We are joined on a bit of a Liberty vacation, a Liberty tourism trip. We've got Riley in studio with us from Utah. How you doing today, Riley?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be on a Call to Freedom.
Very good, very good. And of course, we've got also in studio with us the Queen of Crypto herself, Miss Aria DeMezzo, and we've got our legal mind, Mr. Tom Gray. Now, we've got a story that as soon as I read the headline, Tom chortled. Isn't that the word for it? Chortle? It's like a little...
It's a bit deprecated, but I mean, yeah, technically.
I was about to say, I think I've lost enough weight at this point that I no longer chortle, I chuckle.
Oh, okay. Chuckle. There you go. He chuckled a little bit. Says that, the PGA Championship has been hit with a Bitcoin ransom attack. I can't even read the headline without laughing a little bit myself. Hackers set their eyes on the PGA Championship's computer system in the latest cyber heist demanding a Bitcoin ransom. According to Newsmax, the PGA Tour's system suffered a security breach, leaving some files inaccessible unless a Bitcoin, $6,227.15, was paid.
This was a random attack then.
Yeah, it's a Bitcoin.
Yeah, if they were trying to actually hit the PGA intentionally,
they hit him for big bucks.
Significantly higher.
Whoever this is like, man.
So, I mean, they're running like an unpatched server 2012 or something like that. And they're like, oh, no, we got his.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yep. While viewers are glued to their screens, the PGA will be hard at work resolving this problem. While the payment amount is unclear, the threat is not. Tuesday saw workers trying to access these files only to be met with the following message.
Can't be done.
Your network's been penetrated. All files on each host in the network have been encrypted with a strong algorithm. We exclusively have decryption software for your situation. No decryption software is available in the public. While the hackers were kind enough to leave a wallet number and the promise of decrypting 2 files as a test, PGA officials have allegedly declined to pay the ransom. Golf Week reported that the files affected were linked to the promotional materials like banners and logos for both the PGA Championship and the upcoming Ryder Cup. While this may not necessarily affect the outcome of the tournament, it's a major inconvenience for technical staff as well as those responsible for creating the material.
It's not really an inconvenience for technical staff. I mean, they get to waste a few days pretending to be trying to decrypt the stuff that they know cannot be decrypted.
Right.
Because,
they get to look important for a little while.
Yeah, the people in charge do not understand that no matter how many times you explain it to them. The thing they want you to always do is to search in vain for some way to decrypt their files for free.
And it's not going to happen.
No, it's not. It's totally impossible. If it was, ransomware wouldn't be a thing.
Right. Isn't this funny that this comes up literally the day after we were like, ransomware is not really a thing anymore?
Well, and it's not. This was a random attack. The only reason it's getting coverage is because, it's the PGA.
Who it was, yeah.
But I'm sure 700 or 800 businesses were hit yesterday, but they're like, okay, we'll just restore a backup because we're not clowns and we actually have an IT staff that knows what they're doing.
They don't. In order to try and salvage the files, the association has called on the assistance of an external IT team. The PGA, they've made no public comment thus far on the issue, and it's not yet resolved.
So what they're saying is that, no, the PGA did not back up these files.
That's what I was about to say. There is one foolproof way to get around ransomware: backups.
Yeah.
You know who would be the right person to have your backups running on a regular schedule? A competent IT staff.
Yeah, I could do it for them remotely. I mean, it's really not hard. I mean, there is software out there that will streamline it. So all I have to do is install it and then walk away.
Yeah, like Windows has a built-in utility that will do it for you if you're really lazy. But
but those aren't off sites. I mean, most people would end up, not removing the backup device and things like that. So it would get encrypted as well.
Yeah, because it would probably be, if not on the same network, on the same daggone device as the one that got encrypted in the first place. But still, it's something.
I guess.
Here they have nothing. Or you know what would have been really handy, since we're talking about the PGA? You could have written all your files down on little scorecards with pencils.
It would have been as equally advanced as their IT department. So
Exactly.
All right,
go get the same pads that you use to write down your golf scores and write stuff down. You're used to doing it anyway. If you're this incompetent with your digital files, maybe you'd go with paper backups. I don't know. Just spitballing here.
All right, well, we do have a caller on the line. We've got Dave joining us from Virginia. He's listening on the LRN app. What's up, Dave? What do you think? Why do you think it?
I was just wanting some information. When do you think it's advisable to get Trezor or Ledger, Nano Ledger? I'm not sure. I've only got a couple $1,000s in crypto, but it's all on my phone, and I don't know if that's the right time or not.
Okay, are you asking when is a good time to get some sort of wallet backup? Or
well, no, it's Trezor's.
Right.
These are the hardware wallets. When should you take your crypto off of your phone and put it onto a hardware wallet?
Oh, well,
most people use hardware wallets for cold storage. It's like, I've got all this coin and I'm just going to stick it over here, and I don't want to accidentally, or whatever. And it's like a savings account. It's like putting it in the bank.
I mean, it's totally unnecessary though.
Yeah. Especially if you, and this is just the way the two of us would probably do it, or do it. I keep most of my crypto on my phone. You know, I've got.
Well, that's why I have two phones.
I've got,
in case something happens to one of them, I still have all of my crypto on the backup.
Exactly.
And can move it out of there onto my PC if it looks like my backup is about to die, or if I can't recover my original phone or whatever.
Yeah. Have a phone that's not connected to the internet.
Because I've
its
lost
only
crypto.
Connection is through the internet.
I've lost a fair bit of crypto by having it only on one device that I stupidly encrypted and did not remove the encryption key from.
Come to think of it, the only story I can remember us covering involving a cold wallet was that guy in Russia who got the crap beat out of him and had it stolen from his person.
Yeah, most people keep cold wallets in a safe at home. They don't leave home with a cold wallet.
Right.
A hardware wallet. Hardware wallets don't go with you. They stay at the house, and then you keep the crypto you want to use or spend on your phone. So, and if you've only got a couple thousand, at least here in Keene, like a couple thousand crypto, that's like you're spending money for the next couple of months. We'll be back in just a moment.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Because we are smothering in spam, please do not reply to all when you can instead reply. I was recently among over 100 invited to a corporate reunion. It's always a warm affair, and that's the problem. Enthusiasm for our upcoming get-together caused many recipients to RSVP the organizer with a cheery reply to all. I can't wait. Then others piled on with a reply to all to that. Then the "I'm out of my office now" autoresponders joined in. So I replied to all, asking that we all reply only to the organizer. Hey, at least I tried. One invitee, apparently retired, shot back, "Point taken, but I really like seeing the responses since they're so positive." Smiley face. This better be an open bar. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
You know, and this is a realistic view. I mean, look, your kids are going to do drugs. Would you rather them do drugs with pimply-faced kids driving around town? Or would you rather them smoke pot in your house where you know what they're doing? I'm not saying I love the idea of my little boy who's 3 growing up and smoking pot. I don't. I would prefer he didn't. But I know that the human animal, as it is, likes to have its mind altered. And he's my son. he's probably going to do these things. And I'll tell you, I was in a lot of dangerous situations that if my parents had tried something different, maybe things would have worked out differently. I don't know. I'm not blaming them or anything like that. I'm just saying that we need to try new things. This war on drugs, not working.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
All right, welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from our Zencash studio. We are in the middle of our crypto hour here on, well, this Friday afternoon broadcast on your drive home here on LRN.FM. And we've got, you know what, Rob, I know Rob's listening. Well, he was listening on the LRN audio stream on Discord. I don't know where he's probably listening. And I'm fairly sure when we get into this, he's going to call. Because he's a fan of IOTA, and he's been trying, and we've been trying. You've sent the emails out. We haven't really gotten any response. See. So we've been trying to get them on the show for a little while. Let's see. How long have we been on the air? And, well, it's not been successful yet. That may change now, though. The IOTA Foundation is undergoing an overhaul after the founders were shut out of the directors board. That's right. The IOTA Foundation released a public statement on August the 8th in order to quell fears of a major disagreement among senior management after a transcript of a discussion between the founders on the board of the directors was leaked. A statement seen by Cointelegraph explains that following a period of uncertainty over IOTA founder Sergei Popov and Sergei Ivancheglov's access to the foundation's board of directors, a memorandum of understanding would now allow them access. As a German-registered nonprofit, the IOTA Foundation needed to act within the law, meaning changing its statute is possible only by a supervisory board resolution. The statement says IOTA's supervisory board had not yet met, despite Popov and Ivancheglov's waiting for board of directors access. The statement notes that, quote, circumstances lead to a situation where two of the IOTA founders have been waiting for board seats for more than 4 months, adding, unfortunately, sufficient priority was not given to this open issue, and there was a failure to keep the missing board members informed about progress. Tensions are simmering under the status quo, resulting in Ivancheglov's demanding embattled board chairman Dominic Shiner to quit. The statement notes that Sergei Ivancheglov has since stated that asking for Dominic to resign was an emotional reaction to the situation, which had built up over months. The situation did not feel fair to him, being an integral member of the team behind IOTA as we know it today.
I think that's probably part of the problem.
Right. The MOU should be in place by August 10th, so today, an interim measure ahead of the supervisory board's first meeting in September. IOTA's statement writes, both the foundation and Shiner have faced criticism over the past year. In April, a scandal broke out after Shiner told an independent security researcher that she, quote, needed a slap. And in May, University College London cut its ties with IOTA altogether, writing that it was inappropriate for security researchers to be subject to threats of legal action for disclosing their results. Which that
wow.
You remember?
Come on.
Were you here when we covered that story about the University of London? So the University of London cut its ties with IOTA because of the fact that when there was this security group that was like, IOTA went to them and they were like, man, we're getting all this flack over bad security and we've got the best security in the world. So we're going to get these people and they're going to show you. And they came back and they were like, your security is awful. And they report the report. It was in the agreement that the report would be public.
Of course, because it's a blockchain company.
Well,
that's the whole point.
Well, IOTA's people, like, you know how Verge and other and like the Bitcoin Cash crew, how Twitter, they just become like these wild, insane animals that don't know how to act in civilized society.
I know exactly what you
So it's the internet.
Yeah, IOTA's supporters have a tendency to do that as well. And when that happened, the University of College London was like, yeah, we don't really like it when a company and its people attack watchdog groups that they hired for finding what they were supposed to find.
It's a bad
who
look,
can blame
bro.
them? Well, I mean, it sounds
Just
like
bad luck.
the founders of IOTA probably need to step down and let the board of directors do what boards of directors are supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't sound like they have the right temperament or the right business sense or the right diplomatic sense.
Well, I think it was the head of the board of directors that made one of the comments. Let's see here. IOTA Foundation. There was a reason.
I mean, if you tell me you have a CEO out there telling reporters that they need to be slapped, that's a company I'm going to avoid because they clearly don't know what they're doing and they're heading straight for destruction. That's moronic.
I can't find the name of the... Oh, it was Sergey. Never mind. IOTA lead cryptographer Sergey Ivancheglo threatened Heilman with legal action, though thought it should be pointed out IOTA maintains that Ivancheglo acted on his own accord and independently of the foundation. That's why they won't let him have a seat at the table. Bro,
without a doubt. I mean, CEOs have to resign when they do stuff like that.
Okay, here's what happens when you take a dump in the bed. They don't let you in the bed.
They probably shouldn't after that.
For real, yo. Like, if you're gonna, if you come to my house and you take a big old dump in the swimming pool, not only am I kicking you out, you're not coming back. You know, like, you're not invited to the next pool party, bro. No. If you bring...
It's funny how we talked about potty training in the first and second hours of the show.
There's a rule, oddly enough. So, see, my mom and dad, they live in this 55 and up community, and my son is staying there with them, helping them out, and spending the summer with Granny and Papa, because that's where he prefers to spend his summers for some reason, even though they're like 80s and can't take care of themselves, and he ends up taking care of them the whole time he's there. He still would he loves being, they dote on him because he's a namesake and all that kind of stuff. Well, they've got a pool there, right? And the pool, half my kids aren't allowed in the pool. And the reason is because somebody else came with their kids and grandkids, and one of the grandkids had diarrhea, and not only had diarrhea, but was in was not wearing, they didn't put it in a diaper.
Dude,
or a swimming diaper.
We do not need all of these details, man.
Right? And so now no one with children under a certain age are allowed to have their kids in the pool ever again. That is Sergey Ivanov and his problem with IOTA is like, look, bro, you came to the pool party and while everybody was swimming and having a good time, you took a big old dump in the pool. And everybody had to run, and it ruined everybody's time, and you got us kicked out of the University of London, and you suck. So, no, you don't get a spot at the table. You get to sit at home and eat your ice cream from your dribbly little hand and wish that you got to be a part of the group because you ruined it for everybody. Now go sit in the corner, stupid.
Oh, these mixed metaphors are amazing.
I know. I'm good. Or really bad. One or the other. Anyway, when we get back here, it'll be, we're going to talk about Twitter may have some competition, and they're going to be accepting Bitcoin. We'll talk about that when we get back here on the Call to Freedom, here on LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey,
Who do you think you
excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute.
Forget it.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
You
What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
All right, welcome back here to the final segment of tonight's Crypto Hour here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Question from the chat room is, what do you guys think about the Alex Jones censorship? Well, you know what? Personally,
It's not censorship.
It is, but it's private.
Breach your private contract.
Yeah, it's private censorship. It's not public censorship. So to me, those are two separate things. If you if you're on my property or on my what's the word? If you're on my property and you say something and I say I don't want that on my property, then that's my property. I don't think that you should have to serve Stacey Campfield if you're gay because he says stupid things about gay people. I don't think that you should have to serve Jesse Jackson if you're a racist because, why? It's private. It's their business. Now,
how did we get onto this?
Well, because we're actually about to cover.
user.
Well, we're actually about to cover a story about it, though, because my opinion is it looks like a great big hole in the market for me, an opportunity for someone who wants to make a profit to do so. And, well, the story that we have next does discuss that. Mastodon is talking about accepting Bitcoin as more users are leaving Twitter. A decentralized social network, Mastodon is seeing major interest from Bitcoin users as Twitter fails to act on botnet censorship and account blocks. We can find a way to make it work. Mastodon, which has a user interface and features similar to Twitter but runs entirely without centralized control, has attracted about 1,300 cryptocurrency users to its dedicated Bitcoin ecosystem in just a few days. The network functions via various instances or communities with users able to view content just from their own instance or from all across all instances. Bitcoin's instance is hosted via bitcoinhackers.org and counts among its active members Azteco, founder Akin Fernandez, also known as Beauty on Twitter and elsewhere, as well as Satoshi Portal CEO Francois Pouliot, who tweeted, "Okay, so a bunch of cool Bitcoiners are discovering Mastodon together right now on bitcoinhackers.org. It's actually pretty fun." Now talks are underway for Mastodon to begin accepting Bitcoin payments for hosting, while other users have requested adding a Lightning Network tip button. Talks on the platform between founder known as Steve Hodel and developer Matt Odell and Hugo Gamiero, operator of open source Bitcoin payment solution BTC Pay, are ongoing this week. We can surely find a way to make it work, Gamiero wrote in a discussion yesterday. Twitter's bots, blocks, and delays. Twitter, meanwhile, has come in for continued criticism from an increasing number of cryptocurrency users over its lack of success in blocking the huge botnets advertising fake giveaways and impersonating well-known account holders. Research last week revealed some of Twitter cryptocurrency botnets number in tens of thousands of bots, with operators actively seeking to avoid shutdown. Twitter is aware of this form of manipulation and is proactively implementing a number of detections to prevent these types of accounts from engaging with others in a deceptive manner, the company responded to their findings. Spam and certain forms of automation are against Twitter's rules, and in many cases, spammy content is hidden on Twitter on the basis of automated detections, a quote that we read to you guys last week on the subject.
I noticed people really like this story.
Well, this is different, though, because this is like they're pointing out this as part of the reason why the crypto people are leaving, and I see Mastodon as like this is where anarchists will go. This is where Alex Jones could possibly go. This is where the Ron Paul report and all these different people that are being censored. Mastodon is Twitter with no central authority.
Ron Paul is being censored?
They took the Ron Paul Institute's Twitter account offline this week. Or the guy who created it, I think, is who.
Yeah, it was the guy who created it, and it was because I can't remember who it was, but someone who was involved in the Alex Jones decision, he started tweeting at him and called him a little B word over and over again. And it was harassing
good decision.
Yeah, real good decision.
I mean, Ron Paul is really good at those, like letting racist people tweet from his account.
Man, idiots. Ron Paul has a tendency to hire really dumb people.
And to inseminate his wife with dumb people. Rams.
Ba-dum-ching. At the same time, the platform's opaque monitoring practices have caused alarm, with BHB Network founder Giacomo Zucco becoming the latest industry figure to receive an unexplained temporary ban as of the 8th of this month. Others, such as Armin van Bitcoin, threatened to leave Twitter for good if Zucco's account is not reinstated.
I mean, that's always effective. I mean, that's like the people going, we're going to leave the LP if this happens. I mean, just shut up and leave if you're going to leave.
There's so many platforms that could possibly become the new place. MeWe is another one.
Yeah.
That, who was it? Arvin Vora went there and said something and thought that people on Facebook wouldn't see it. You know? Yeah. And then MeWe becomes like this thing. Watch what'll happen if people go to MeWe. Alex Jones, all these people that are being censored go to MeWe. Then what will happen is MeWe will become a thing that gets shared on Facebook.
I don't think so, because I think that the people on the right will end up there, and the people on the left will end up on Facebook and Twitter, and they'll just create these two
echo chambers.
Yeah.
Well, they already are echo chambers.
Yeah, but it's going to get significantly worse because I mean, they'll effectively have blocked everyone they disagree with, and that's terrible. That's a terrible idea. You need to hear ideas that you don't like, no matter what they are.
Like when Nicholas, I can't remember the brother's last name at the moment, but he wrote an article for me about me when I was running for office back in 2016. And he straight up said, like, look, I have to be kind of hit PC about this and insult and degrade you a bit. And I was
at least he didn't say you were running jihad with permits or whatever.
Right. And I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah, I kind of have to, because if I don't insult you and I just talk about what a good candidate you are, then HuffPost will pull my card, and like they'll pull my ability to publish on their website because I cover if I cover your race with too much positive spin.
I mean, I don't doubt it, but I'm curious why he would want to continue publishing there anyway.
Massive audience.
Because it's a massive audience, yeah.
I would put integrity and being able to say what I wanted to say above a massive audience.
If you read the article...
Could be why nobody reads me, but whatever.
If you read the article, in libertarian circles, there's no insults in there at all. Like, even the times that he kind of calls me names... It's in a way that like the libertarians are like, yeah, you know, so for like the audience that I was, you know, going for, it was great. But, you know, for his left wing audience, calling me the wing nut that holds all of the other libertarian nuts together, gave them the ability to chuckle like, what's the word? Sardonically? Is that the right way? Like with contempt? To laugh with contempt at me while the libertarians in the room laugh like, ha ha ha, that's right. He is like crazy libertarian nutcase, isn't he? That's why I love him. You know, so it kind of elicited, but he told me, he was like, look, anything that you read that sounds like I'm trying to kick you in the balls, just read it tongue in cheek and know that like I'm only saying it and saying it that way because I want to keep my job. I think it's the same thing, you know? That whole, like, if I want to stay in good with my little group, I have to... What was it we said last week? In order to prevent from being targeted by the mob, one must constantly signal to the mob that they are a part of it.
Yeah.
And that's
I'd rather tell the mob to bring it on.
Right?
Yeah, I'm kind of the
that's
same
why
way.
I'm
Bring
like,
it on.
look, man, this is a
Bring
hole.
it on.
This is a hole in the market. Somebody write a protocol. Come on, we got all these crypto people in the in the community. Write a better program.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, August 10th, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.40 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,214 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $21, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,499. Antiwar.com reports with Congress flat out refusing to fund the plan in the 2019 military spending bill, the Trump administration is continuing to insist that they intend to create a new 6th branch of the military called the Space Force by 2020. Vice President Mike Pence set out on Thursday saying that it was the next great chapter in the history of our armed forces and prepare for the next battlefield of America's wars, which apparently will be in space. Pence addressed the lack of congressional approval, saying that the Space Force will not be built from scratch just yet, but rather will see an increased centralization of the existing Space Command, which is part of the Air Force, while establishing more space-centric agencies and forces to fill out what eventually will become the Space Force if and when it is approved by Congress. Trump had previously claimed Space Force would be separate but equal to the Air Force and would ensure total U.S. dominance over space into the future. He has insisted he believes space is a place where a lot of stuff is happening. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports the average amount of individual student loan debt owned by U.S. college students increased by more than $300 in 2017, according to a study by Lend.edu. The New Jersey-based online loan marketplace's annual student loan debt by school by state report found the average debt per borrower for the class of 2017 was $28,288, up $313 from $27,975 in 2016. Lend.edu said on Wednesday student loan debt in the U.S. continues to be an issue of the utmost importance. The total outstanding student loan debt now stands at $1.52 trillion, making it the second largest form of consumer debt behind only mortgages. The annual report uses data from the Peterson's Financial Aid Survey, which collects responses from 1,080 four-year public and private institutions to determine average individual student loan debt figures and rank states and colleges in terms of debt per borrower. Pennsylvania had the highest student loan debt per borrower at $36,100 $1,193, up from 2016, when it was also the state where college graduates paid back the highest debt at $35,185. The state was home to 6 of the nation's top 10 public colleges with the highest average student debt. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. Reuters reports a federal judge on Thursday ordered an immigrant mother and daughter brought back to the United States after learning during a court hearing that the government had put them on a deportation flight to El Salvador. The pair were among 12 plaintiffs in a lawsuit brought by the American Civil Liberties Union challenging changes in asylum policies ordered by U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Washington, D.C. District Court Judge Emmett Sullivan was hearing a request to stay the plaintiffs' deportations when the ACLU learned that 2 of them were already on a flight to Central America. Upon hearing the news, Sullivan ordered their flight returned and suggested that Sessions could be held in contempt of court, according to the ACLU. An official from the Department of Homeland Security said in an email statement that the agency is complying with the court's order, and upon arrival in El Salvador, the plaintiffs did not disembark and are currently en route back to the United States. During the hearing, the judge ordered a temporary stay on deporting the 9 women and 3 children who filed the suit, according to the court filing. The lawsuit was filed on Tuesday in the District of Columbia by the ACLU. It challenges a recent tightening on standards for seeking U.S. asylum, which makes it far more difficult for those fleeing domestic or gang violence to win the right to remain in the United States. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
On June 4th, 1919, a group of bold, passionate men took it upon themselves to pass the Women's Suffrage Act, finally granting women the right to vote that they were too frail and helpless to achieve on their own. Having long watched women struggle to stand up for their right to choose elected officials, the strong and capable men decided to intercede and aid their weak female counterparts. And on June 6, 1972, David Bowie's release of his concept album, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust, kick-started the glam rock genre and led to such spin-off trends as glam medicine, glam sports, and glamcatecture, all culminating in the 1976 presidential glam election. And that was what happened this week in history. In the words of French King John II, history will forever remember the great names of Alexander and Napoleon and Washington. But what about me, John II of France? I did stuff too.
This is the Onion News Network.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Welcome back here to the third hour of the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We've been, joined today by Aria DiMezzo, CryptocurrencyCheck.org, and our legal mind, Mr. Tom Gray. Now, in all honesty, I'm really disappointed this Friday, even though we are definitely going to be playing this song.
Oh, well, you made some.
Yeah, I did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did. Well, it wasn't really libertarian drama. That was just me trolling the hell out of some social conservatives, and I was like, we lost Vietnam and Korea both, and they were like, no! 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 Burn the heretic!
Triggered!
Oh yeah,
Triggered.
so triggered, so triggered.
So anyway, I think what you were going to say is we're kind of disappointed because the libertarian drama of the week isn't very drama-y and it's not very libertarian, because the best that I was able to come up with was Austin Peterson getting absolutely blown out in the
And Reason magazine, just because they love to fillet Gary Johnson
Hold on,
so much.
What happened to Austin Peterson?
He came in last place. He got murdered.
It was really bad.
He got 500,000 votes, though. I mean, you have to acknowledge that.
Did he get 500,000 or did he get 50,000?
Oh, 50,000. That was it. 50,000. Maybe it was 50,000.
I mean, I could get 50,000.
I don't know. Really?
With his kind of money? Yeah, that's a joke.
That was it. He raised 500,000. That was it. He raised.
Yeah, he got 54,810 votes.
Yeah.
8.26%.
So he paid $10,000 a vote.
$10 a vote.
But the chick who he was running against raised $22 million, didn't she?
Crap.
Oh, that's Claire McCaskill. That's the incumbent.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're
the
well,
guy
it's easier to raise
was-
money when you already have favors to sell. And
Right.
Austin
Yeah,
was
see-
just selling future favors.
But you see, she's a Democrat. Now, the Republican who won this primary had actually been criticized for mailing in his campaign. Politico wrote a story about him with the headline, GOP Golden Boy mails it in.
Okay, let me give you the reasons why Austin lost. He as a Republican advocated libertarian policies like abolishing ICE.
Yeah, that's not going over well in Trump's climate.
No. He wasn't endorsed by Trump, and he's anti-ICE, and he's an atheist. Done. You lose.
Yeah, he's done.
Next. The other guy.
I mean, that's absolutely moronic that he would attempt to move to the GOP then. I mean, being an atheist.
Here's what happened.
That eliminates you with the GOP.
He ran for the presidential nomination in the Libertarian Party, and the pragmatists all told him, go get elected and then come back. So that's what he's trying to do. He wants to be the Libertarian Party's presidential nominee, and he knows that until he is a senator or a governor in the Republican Party, he will not be accepted by the majority of the delegation. That the majority of the delegation are Republican rejects who
who wanted to be big fish in small ponds instead of being little fish in big ponds.
Exactly. So they all ran to the GOP when they didn't like who got nominated, and I mean they all ran to the LP when they didn't like who was nominated, but they brought their stupid GOP values with them.
Yes, they did.
Exactly. So, and that includes if you're not famous, we're not going to nominate you.
Yeah.
And that's what they told him. Look, you've never been elected to a big office before, and until you are.
I mean, his big claim to fame was that he was a Twitter troll.
No, his big claim to fame was the fact that he worked for Judge Andrew Napolitano, and he was
also not a libertarian.
He's more libertarian than Peterson,
and more libertarian than Bill Weld.
True.
I've never heard Judge Napolitano say, "Hey, what I think would be a really good idea for American foreign policy? Let's drone bomb Yemen." Which has totally different implications today. Huh, Libertarian Party.
Yep, because it happened.
And when we did, what happened? Oops. School children, school bus. Speaking of which, that's part of what we wanted to talk about, and besides our libertarian drama, was the...
Well, yeah, I wanted to get to the quote. The Austin Peterson quote.
Oh, okay. Well, let's have it.
Because we're gonna get to giggle at it. So this is from Reason's article, which the headline was Austin Peterson trounced in Missouri GOP primary election for U.S. Senate. They say, so is there a future for AP and the LP? That's Austin Peterson in the Libertarian Party. On last night's episode of Fox Business Network's Kennedy, yes, that Kennedy, Peterson was asked point blank whether he was going back to the Libertarian Party. His answer, quote, I'm going to stick with the Republican Party because my people asked me to, and because I believe it's the party of abolitionism and the party of freedom.
Wow, so he's on crack.
He's one of those, we're going to take the GOP back from the idiots people, and I told them back in 2013 that wasn't going to happen. So
that was me in 2010. And now here I am hanging out with you guys.
Right. Anyway, so moving on, I want to make sure we get this some of this out before we get to the first break, because I don't want it to overtake the second break. The untold casualties of all of these revolutions, rebellions, colonialism, when the victims of European colonialism rose up and attempted to get their freedom back over the course of the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries, we don't really hear about the number of people who were slaughtered. Usually, like spears and bows and arrows versus cannons and rifles slaughtered. And we never really hear about those numbers. And with Hiroshima having just recently passed, I wanted us to really take a real look at what the West has really done, where these animosities have come from, and the 300 years of rape, murder, and pillage that have inspired the last 15 or 20 years, 50 years, I guess, finally, of retaliations.
30th, 1789, the Battle of Islay, the Moroccans. How many French died? 27. How many Moroccans? 800, according to French sources. God only knows how many actually died. The Battle of the Pyramids. How many died? 27 French. How many Mamluks died? 27,000. I'm not giving you the civilian deaths. According to Napoleon's lieutenant, he said Napoleon wept tears when he saw the Mamluks charging with their swords against his cannons and gunfire as he mowed them down. He wept tears and he turned to his lieutenant and he said, "This courage you will never see on the battlefield again." This is the Mamluks that were defending Egypt. These people were not cowards. They were not cowards. But the world had changed and they hadn't changed with it. The Indian rebellion, the Sepoy these were the Hindus and the Muslims, 300,000 soldiers that were working with the English, Muslims and Hindus together. The Sepoy rebellion, because remember, the first major corporation in human history is the East Indian Company. This is the first major corporation. This is the beginning of the corporate empire. India was run by the East Indian Company. It was a private enterprise, and they used British soldiers to do it all for them. Most of the people in Parliament had stocks in the East Indian Company. So they...
All right, well, we'll continue on with this discussion when we get back here on the Call to Freedom, here on LRN.FM.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
Very superstitious.
All right, welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Broadcasting live from our Zencash studio. We are square in the middle of our last hour of the week here on your drive home on this wonderful Friday afternoon. Still haven't played our Big Friday song yet.
What's the Big Friday song?
Finally Friday.
Oh.
I usually play it at 6 o'clock, but I didn't play it at 6 o'clock today because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. So we've been talking, in Hiroshima and all that was just not long ago, and we didn't really talk about it. And I thought, you know what, let's go a little further than that. There's more than that. This is pretty big.
Hiroshima is probably just the most obvious example.
Yeah, but the Indian Rebellion, 10th of May, 1857, through the 20th of June, 1858, 100,000 sepoys killed. Between 2 and 10,000 British.
That's not as severe as some of the others.
Yeah, that's not as severe as some of the others. Let's get back into this because these numbers are pretty alarming.
This Indian historian estimates that they killed 10 million Indians over a 10-year period. That's the estimate. And it's even though it's controversial, it's taken seriously in this article because he based it on actual facts. The disappearance of many people in their census. The siege of Khartoum, this is when General Gordon, who was leading mostly an Egyptian Sudanese army. There were British soldiers, but most of the soldiers were actually Muslims. And they had captured Khartoum. The Mahdi soldiers came, 7,000 British, but they're not British. Most of them were actually Egyptians and Sudanese, were killed. And Gordon was killed. This was huge headlines in England. Again, they wanted revenge. They estimate 4,000 dead civilians. We don't know how many of the Mahdi's soldiers died. The Battle of Omdurman.
Now the Mahdi's soldiers, for a little historic context, the Mahdi is supposed to be is a character in Islamic eschatology that is supposed to come at a time of mass oppression, and he'll unite the Muslims and fight back against the oppressors, who eventually will be led by the Antichrist, and the Mahdi will fight the Antichrist alongside Jesus. And that means that the oppression of these people was so great at this point in time that they were able to conceptualize that this man was literally sent by God simply because he was willing to fight back. And when he did fight back, he was able to strike a blow which killed a big-name general who had been the head of this colonial project all across Africa that Europe, not Europe, but England specifically, had been in the midst of. Now, listen, they killed 2,000 British soldiers in trying to push them out of their homeland. So that's like the Chinese invaded America, American rebels sack New York, where the Chinese stronghold is, kill 2,000 of the Chinese and push them out of America. And in response,
which is their revenge, is September 2nd, 1898. The British lost 47. Their wounded soldiers, 382. The Mahdi lost 12,000 and wounded 13,000 and 5,000 captured. They mowed them down with machine guns as they charged. They literally mowed them down. Now, themselves, literally mowed them down.
Sorry.
Now,
that was my mistake.
By the 1920s, this is the Muslim world. It's basically colonized. Britain is in pink, France is in blue.
You guys can't see this, but Britain owns half of Africa. Spain owns the other half of
Germany in green.
Germany has the lower half of Africa.
Italian is, the Italian.
And Italy owns
the Dutch got some.
Libya.
The Italians got Libya,
which was directly across
right?
Old
But then
Carthage.
they had to deal with Omar Mukhtar, so it wasn't easy going. The Moroccans, if you study Moroccan history, not 1 inch of Morocco was conquered without French blood and Moroccan blood being shed. The Moroccans fought a jihad that was extraordinary. Abdul Karim Arifi, the great, and we should clap. These people were defending their lands. They were defending their lands against colonization. Just like if Canada was invaded and people fought for Canada and died, we would applaud them as well for defending their land. This is the reality of it. These people...
So these one-sided death tolls
was against Bedouin in Libya by the Italians, 1911. This is the first time aerial bombing was used. It was considered perfectly acceptable. They were testing it out to see how it would work. And they literally killed innocent civilians. Again, we don't blame the Italians today. We should have no anger or hatred towards Italians today for what their ancestors did. Those ummah are gone, and they have what they earned, and the Italians today have what they earned. And we have to get rid of this historical hatred of people. This is a disease in human hearts.
So again, you know, the first bombings, the first aerial bombings, let's just bomb some random Bedouins in Libya, in the Libyan desert, because, you know, they're not people. They're just, you know, pastoral nomads with no connection. Who's going to stand up for them? Who's going to do anything? Who's going to do anything about it whatsoever? But that's not where it ended.
The day after Christmas, because they didn't want to offend the Muslim soldiers in their army. They didn't want to offend the Muslim soldiers fighting for them as they took over Palestine. So, Arab-Israeli war, 4,000 Israelis dead, 10,000. They were still fighting primitively. There is clear evidence in the historical records now that the British intention originally was to get rid of the Jews by putting them into Palestine. Many of them were anti-Semitic and racist, and they actually thought that the Jews wouldn't survive. And so they thought the Arabs were going to eat the Jews alive. Initially, the Israelis didn't have much weaponry, but the Arabs were so disorganized that they lost because of the terrain and the toughness of the Afghani people and the primitive nature of the Alhamdulillah.
We're not going to have a chance to get to it, but the Afghan war. This was Russia. When Russia invaded Afghanistan, the amount of dead. You had, let's see here, you've got 9,500 dead Russian soldiers from 1979 to 1989. Over 100,000 dead Afghanis. 850,000 dead Afghan soldiers, 850 to 1.5 million dead civilians, 3 million wounded civilians, 5 million refugees. So that the U.S. and Russia could have a little chessboard to end the Cold War.
Those numbers are staggering.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Americans across the nation made their voices heard this week as they demanded more mind-blowing guitar solos. Calling for the solos to be, quote, face-meltingly cool and go on for well over 10 minutes, Americans stressed that all guitar solos from now on should be equally as kick-ass as those in Van Halen's Hot for Teacher and AC/DC's Thunderstruck, or even better.
It should start out really slow, you know, and then get faster and faster until they're all the way up at the top of the guitar neck and bending the notes like crazy, so it's like, and then there's all this awesome pyrotechnic stuff going off in the background. They should all be like that.
And in this week's local news, a report noted that on its surface, Glenbrook, Ohio is a small town like any other, a peaceful, all-American town. And yet, the report's authors added, if you only look closer, what you find may surprise you. In other news, a man is just having one of those decades where he doesn't feel like doing anything.
This is the Onion News Network.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
You're listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Welcome back into the Call of Freedom here on LRN.FM. Now, I've got Aria here and Tom Gray live via remote, and we've been having a discussion about, these lopsided death tolls in relation to one that we recently just passed as a well-known, what's the word here? Not holiday, but anniversary, the Hiroshima bombing. Which was, again, death toll numbers were absolutely insane. Many argue that the war was already over and it was just an opportunity for us to test out new weapons. It turns out, well, that's not really the first time that the West has done that. The Italians, they tested out dropping bombs from airplanes the first time in 1911, and they did it by dropping it on civilian Bedouin nomads, just people wandering the desert with some sheep, and who cares about them anyway? They don't have a lobby group. So, we'll just sacrifice them to the machine. Again, though,
it sounds like it was a lot of practice for World War I.
Yes. Basically.
That's essentially what we're doing today in the Middle East is sparring, practicing for World War III.
Yeah. It's war games.
Yeah.
And it looks like China's got better weapons than we do. But then you also have King Leopold of Belgium, killed basically the first Holocaust, complete with concentration camps, between 2 and 15 million deaths recorded. It's absolute insanity. And somehow the people that have inflicted suffering like this on this scale, right? Later, now they're the victims. Now that colonialism is over.
Colonialism isn't over.
I know it's not. But now that colonialism is supposedly over, and most or many of those countries have pulled out and gone home, at least their militaries have, they left other things, like the Commonwealth. Debt. The Commonwealth left debt. Kenya had to purchase its freedom from England after winning their revolution.
That's the way. That's what it was all about. It was all about money in the first place.
Yeah. So they said, well, we came here and we took over your country and we built some things while we were here. So you owe us for the bridges that we built while we were here. And we had you while we were militarily occupying your country without your consent through force and violence. While we were here, we needed bridges to facilitate our ability to occupy you through military force and violence. And since we're going to be leaving those bridges here, we think we should be paid for them with more of your money after we raped your resources to begin with.
Well, we tried something similar with our occupations in Asia, only we called it pacification, and it was like, we're not building these roads and bridges and stuff to make it easier for us to oppress you. It's to make your lives easier.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that, it makes it easier for us to get around with our Jeeps and tanks and stuff and shoot you.
Right. Like most of us.
Happy accidents.
Most of us live in cities or towns with bridges that were built during the New Deal. And those bridges should have been replaced in the 60s. But we had to build bridges in Vietnam and Laos and Cambodia. Just like now, we could be replacing those bridges, but that money needs to go to build bridges in Syria and Pakistan and Afghanistan and Iraq after we blew the ones that were already there up.
That's it through and through, man.
So what we'll do is we'll privatize the profit from selling the weapons to blow up the bridge, but we'll socialize the cost of both the weapons and rebuilding the bridge.
I mean, well, that's fascism through and through, is socialized losses and privatized profits.
The taxpayer is on the hook to pay for the weapon and to pay for the soldier that drops the weapon and to pay for the munition, the implement that's used to get the weapon from point A to point B, and for the implement to get the soldier from point A to point B, and for the bridge that they have to rebuild after they blow it up. The taxpayer pays for all of that.
And, it made sense. It made sense back when I don't mean it made sense. It was still immoral. But, I mean, it made sense economically back when, the colonialism was blatant and we would just take their resources for ourselves. But now that we don't do that so blatantly and we're still paying like $3 per gallon for gas after we invaded Iraq, it no longer makes any sense at all. And I'm not saying it would be good if it made sense, but it would at least be better. Not for them.
Right? Remember, there used to be plunder, and now it's
that's it. It
used to be plunder, and plunder helped.
I mean, we used to get something out of making havoc and death throughout the world.
Yeah, and now we do get something out of it. We get a massive tax bill that we're going to pass down to our grandchildren.
Well, that's what they get out of it.
Well, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
It's definitely that.
What a crappy gift.
For real, yo.
Wish you could take it back and exchange it for a...
Oh, my favorite is the people who abhor colonialism in the early 1900s, but they vote for it in the 21st century, because, well, Obama's different because, a black guy blowing up Libya, that makes it okay. But now Trump is evil because before he dropped those bombs, he said he doesn't like Muslims. And Obama, before he dropped the bomb, said that Muslims are important to the fabric of America.
Yeah, well, and they were back when he was elected because, so many of the Muslims had voted for him because they were pulled to the Democratic Party. And at that time, there was nothing from his perspective more important than dropping bombs on the Middle East. So, God, that's...
I can see you voting for him the first time because he gave off this impression of like, well,
I voted for him the first time.
I'm going to end all of these things and close Guantanamo and like...
None of which freaking
instead,
happened.
In 2010, he's force-feeding people who want justice and are in the midst of a hunger strike because of a lack of justice from the American government. So he's literally, on Ramadan, force-feeding them. Mos Def did a video about it where he was force-fed in the same way.
Oh, yeah, with the feeding tubes?
Yeah, with the feeding tubes and stuff. God, yeah, and they were doing that to them while Obama was telling America Ramadan Mubarak, while Obama was sitting in the White House dining room with the leaders of all the big-name Muslim organizations and their starry eyes and rubbing elbows. He was overseeing the force feeding of Guantanamo prisoners.
And I've said it before, but I will say it again. There is absolutely nothing on this earth that will justify torturing any other living creature. And I don't care whether or not you consider it torture. Well, we're just trying to feed them. They don't want to be fed. That's the point.
It seems as though he gets a free pass on that, though. Because he said he wanted... Now they're like, oh, well, it's the Republicans' fault. He couldn't close Guantanamo. He's the commander-in-chief, yo. Do you understand what that action... You do understand.
And he was elected with the Democratic Congress.
Yeah. And what did they do?
And they were swept in because of Bush during 2006 when America was like, okay, we have had enough of this lunatic. We need a Democratic Congress to rein him in. And then we had a Democratic president. He wants to blame the Republicans? No, that's like the Republican Congress now going, well, we would like to repeal Obamacare, but it's those dang Democrats that we just keep sending a few Republicans over.
Well, what they had
on
to
these
do,
critical issues to make sure that we don't accidentally repeal something or pass something or do something that we said we would do.
Well, what they had to do was they had to make good with their owners over in the insurance companies by writing a law that instead of giving single-payer health care, which is what their constituency wanted, it forced people to buy stuff from the very companies that their constituencies think are Satan.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
This is novelist Tom Robbins. When my mother was diagnosed with glaucoma, her conservative Virginia physician told her there was only one treatment that might ease her pain and save her eyesight. That treatment was medical marijuana, which he could not prescribe. I offered to get her some and teach her how to use it effectively, but my father objected because marijuana was against the law. So my mother, who loved to read and walk in nature, was condemned to grow cruelly, unnecessarily blind. Tragedies like this happen all the time, but they don't have to keep happening. To learn more about medical marijuana, call the Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or visit them on the web at mpp.org.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
Let's focus our discussion first on marijuana, okay? Marijuana has a very distinct smell, okay? I'm going to pass around just a little tiny bit, and I want you all to take a smell so you know when someone is smoking marijuana near you.
All right, it is time for our cannabis news segment here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. We got to get a sponsor for this. We got to find somebody to sponsor the cannabis news segment.
And my first thought is like job papers.
Yeah, never going to happen. But we got to figure somebody out. Probably like maybe High Times or I don't know. Somebody has got to do it for us.
Well, we compete with High Times.
We do. That sucks.
Yeah, I don't think they would do it.
Huh.
Well, hey, but Love Java.
I don't know if her overhead is such that she can afford to shell out $4,000 for a segment, a segment sponsorship.
Yeah. Plus being local.
Yeah. So anyway, story today, police chief is calling for more cannabis clubs. That way pot can be smoked, used, traded safely. This is a story out of England. North Wales Police and Crime Commissioner says that the war on drugs will continue to fail without radical change. A police chief has called for cannabis users to be allowed to freely grow and sell the drug without fear of arrest in cannabis clubs, saying that the war on drugs, it's pointless, and that let's see here, war on drugs will continue to fail if radical changes aren't made. Afrin Jones, the police and crime commissioner for North Wales, has campaigned on the issue for most of his tenure and is now calling for Spanish-style collectives where cannabis users sell homegrown drugs to each other. Hundreds of cannabis clubs are already registered across the UK. What?
He's advocating capitalism?
Yes.
Whoops.
Right. Well, actually, funny, Adam Smith was Scottish. This is where the concept of capitalism originally was supposed to have come from, as far as like modern capitalism, even though everybody with a brain knows that Ibn Khaldun was writing about it 300 years before Adam Smith was born. Anyway, the hundreds of cannabis clubs already registered across the UK where the drug's traded and used in a safe and controlled space, but not sold to the general public. Club members pay about £35 a year. Club members pay about £35 a year to join and gather on a regular basis, sometimes weekly, to smoke and share. Details are available online on websites such as United Kingdom's Cannabis Social Club, which has 75 clubs registered across the country. Jones visited the Teesside Cannabis Club earlier this year and also traveled to Switzerland to learn how different drug programs work. He said, "I support a legalized and regulated cannabis market with age restrictions and the personal cultivation of a certain number of plants. It's been clear for a very long time that the so-called war on drugs is a failure. I'm sympathetic to the Spanish-style cannabis clubs, which grow their own cannabis for regulated consumption by their members." Jones said that
do we have to regulate it?
Right. Well, I think it's regulated within the collective itself.
Okay. Self-regulation.
Jones
I'm
said
okay with that.
He works in an area, Wrexham, where there have been well-documented drug problems. He's called for change in the way substance abuse is viewed and treated by society as a whole. He added, "My views on the issue were formed over many years working as a police officer, seeing the futility of locking up people with problematic drug use, only to see them come before the courts again and again and again. There's an expectation that drug taking and antisocial behavior are police matters. Well, that's not really the case. We deal with the symptoms, but other agencies should be dealing with the causes. Saving lives by adopting sensible harm reduction measures would be a win-win for everybody." Greg Holt,
let's apply that across the board, though, and not just to pot. Let's apply it to MDMA, to prostitution, to weapons, to everything.
Well, the head of Greg DeHote, the head of the UKCSC, which was set up in 2011 to advocate and advise for change, started the network after being diagnosed with Crohn's disease. He spent 6 months in the U.S. after he found out that medicinal cannabis alleviated his suffering. He says most of the clubs are founded with at least 1 or 2 members that require cannabis medicinally, so it's a built-in ethos and understanding that cannabis helps people. Whether they like it or not, when people find out they have a medical condition that cannabis can help, and they look around for support. And the first port of call is their local cannabis social club. He said that since the network was set up, that he was not aware of any police raids or any members being arrested entering or leaving any cannabis club. Lucky for him.
Yeah.
Here in the U.S., they do the opposite. Grandma, what? I heard a story. They locked an old lady up because her medical cannabis card expired, and she missed the doctor's appointment to renew the card, and they raided her house a week later. Yeah. She's like 83.
I mean, Hillary, if you want to find the deplorables, it's the people who did that.
Right?
I was about to say, all the 83-year-old women who are that dangerous are in Congress.
Right.
Not this one.
Or they're running for president.
Here it was just a few days ago. Fox 46 just covered it 3 days ago. An 80-year-old grandmother in Clare County, Michigan, jailed for the first time in her entire life because she had a small amount of cannabis at home and her medical marijuana card had expired.
That is absolutely disgusting. I hope somebody got the freaking hell beaten out of them for doing that.
Dolores Saltzman, who lives with arthritis, diverticulitis, muscle and bone aches, said that cannabis saved her life, offering pain relief and an increased appetite after undergoing surgery with prescription opioids had only induced pain and vomiting. Clare County Sheriff's Deputy Ashley Grunow reportedly came to Salzman's home on June 13th trying to locate her great-granddaughter. Deputy Grunow said she smelled cannabis smoke while standing on the woman's porch and asked to whom it belonged. Fox 17 reports that Saltzman told the truth, that it was her and that she smoked the plant for medicinal purposes. Deputy Grunow came inside and ultimately confiscated 7 pipes, 4 joints, and a small amount of cannabis. She then handcuffed the old woman, put her in her patrol car, and jailed her overnight. The majority of Michigan voters approve of legalized adult-use cannabis, and a ballot initiative to do exactly that will appear before voters on Election Day this November.
I mean, at the very least, by the time you turn 80 years old, who cares what they do? They're 80. I mean, if they want to snort crack,
she didn't even have an eighth of an ounce. With the joints that they found, she didn't even have an eighth of an ounce. She's 81 this November.
And again, the only 80-year-olds who are dangerous to the rest of us are the ones in Congress and running for president.
Or the ones driving.
Not the ones. Okay, that's true. And I don't really care how ageist it is. It's true. But she wasn't driving.
She was not.
She was not driving.
She was sitting at home, and a police officer said, "What's that smell? It smells like promotion."
And because I've got to be that guy, because I'm the lawyer on the show, why did she let the cop inside? Or why did she talk?
No. The police officer said she smelled marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And said, I smell pot.
Yeah, but then she asked the woman about it, and the woman told her the truth instead of saying, "I don't talk to cops."
Yeah, a lot of times, if they smell,
I know where you're going with it, Will.
Yeah,
if she would say, "Oh, there's an exigency," but it's one cop,
and it's an old woman who was not doing anything illegal. I mean, she expected to be able to tell the truth, and
yeah, if you're not doing anything illegal, you're the last person who should ever talk to the cops.
I agree. But I mean, she's an 80-year-old woman who has never been on that side of the fence before.
They handcuffed her. And that the deputy didn't read her rights. This just gets better and better.
Well, that's Hollywood stuff. They're not actually required to do that.
Already had her confession. Oh, well. Have a good weekend, everybody.
All right. Yeah, we'll see you next week here on the Call to Freedom, but don't go anywhere because Free Talk Live coming up next.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live, brought to you by freekeen.com. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, August 10th, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.40 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,214 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $21, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,499. Antiwar.com reports with Congress flat out refusing to fund the plan in the 2019 military spending bill, the Trump administration is continuing to insist that they intend to create a new sixth branch of the military called the Space Force by 2020. Vice President Mike Pence set out on Thursday saying that it was the next great chapter in the history of our armed forces and prepare for the next battlefield of America's wars, which apparently will be in space. Pence addressed the lack of congressional approval, saying that the Space Force will not be built from scratch just yet, but rather will see an increased centralization of the existing Space Command, which is part of the Air Force, while establishing more space-centric agencies and forces to fill out what eventually will become the Space Force if and when it is approved by Congress. Trump had previously claimed Space Force would be separate but equal to the Air Force and would ensure total U.S. dominance over space into the future. He has insisted he believes space is a place where a lot of stuff is happening. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports the average amount of individual student loan debt owned by U.S. college students increased by more than $300 in 2017, according to a study by Lend.edu. The New Jersey-based online loan marketplace's annual student loan debt by school by state report found the average debt per borrower for the class of 2017 was $28,288, up $313 from $27,975 in 2016. Lend.edu said on Wednesday student loan debt in the U.S. continues to be an issue of the utmost importance. The total outstanding student loan debt now stands at $1.52 trillion, making it the second largest form of consumer debt behind only mortgages. The annual report uses data from the Peterson's Financial Aid Survey, which collects responses from 1,080 four-year public and private institutions to determine average individual student loan debt figures and rank states and colleges in terms of debt per borrower. Pennsylvania had the highest student loan debt per borrower at $36,193, up from 2016, when it was also the state where college graduates paid back the highest debt at $35,185. The state was home to 6 of the nation's top 10 public colleges with the highest average student debt. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. Reuters reports a federal judge on Thursday ordered an immigrant mother and daughter brought back to the United States after learning during a court hearing that the government had put them on a deportation flight to El Salvador. The pair were among 12 plaintiffs in a lawsuit brought by the American Civil Liberties Union challenging changes in asylum policies ordered by U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Washington, D.C. District Court Judge Emmett Sullivan was hearing a request to stay the plaintiffs' deportations when the ACLU learned that 2 of them were already on a flight to Central America. Upon hearing the news, Sullivan ordered their flight returned and suggested that Sessions could be held in contempt of court, according to the ACLU. An official from the Department of Homeland Security said in an email statement that the agency is complying with the court's order, and upon arrival in El Salvador, the plaintiffs did not disembark and are currently en route back to the United States. During the hearing, the judge ordered a temporary stay on deporting the 9 women and 3 children who filed the suit, according to the court filing. The lawsuit was filed on Tuesday in the District of Columbia by the ACLU. It challenges a recent tightening on standards for seeking U.S. asylum, which makes it far more difficult for those fleeing domestic or gang violence to win the right to remain in the United States. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Jack Daniels announced today its plan to start marketing directly to children, adding, quote, "Why not?" Executives for the whiskey company told reporters that they've already slated dozens of television spots showing 10-year-old children drinking tumblers of Jack and Coke in playgrounds, and that the company was planning on, quote, "just seeing how it all played out."
Every year, Jack Daniels sells millions of dollars of great American whiskey to men and women all over the world. So, for our next ad campaign, we basically just thought, hey, why not just start marketing this stuff straight to 10-year-olds? I mean, if they catch us, they catch us, but we'll see how far it goes, and hopefully we can sell some alcohol along the way. Sure, some parents groups could get upset, especially if we go with our idea of moms serving their kids cranberry Jack at snack time. But
in other news, a doomed rabbit will teach an 8-year-old a lesson about responsibility, and a